So I'm here with Michele Morrow on one of the sets in the Nerdist universe. Michele, hello.
Hi, Sean. How are you?
I am grateful that you are going to sit down with me finally and explain this universe to me. My first question is an incredibly broad question. Mm-hmm. What are video games? I mean, honestly, if you think of it, the world now is so complex. What's a video game to you?
Well, anything where you can interact with technology and play it and be able to accept the rules that it gives you and play with it, interact with it. And each video game is different, each one, and they've evolved over time that we've seen from the 70s and 80s to now. I mean, it's taken such a huge turn, but anything that you can play and interact and have a good time with, people play for different reasons and different games have different objectives, but each one is...
Talk about that. Talk about the different objectives of kids.
It's actually interesting because I'm a child of the 80s and I grew up playing with Atari and Commodore 64.
I love Commodore. Blue Max. Do you remember Blue Max? Yes. I love Blue Max.
Yes, it was
Nobody
awesome.
knows Commodore 64 except for old people.
Commodore 64 was awesome because I think at the time my mom was a huge Trekkie. Like she was huge in Trekkies, and William Shatner was the spokesperson for Commodore 64.
He's always out in front, isn't he?
like way back he was. So my mother saw the commercials and decided to buy one for the family. And back then, it was seen as a family technology. It was just something new for everybody to play and experience. It was new for all of us. We were looking at it going, oh wow, I can use this controller, this joystick, and I can use all of this, and I can manipulate the game in front of me. And back in the old Atari commercials, you would see boys and girls and moms and dads and grandmas and grandpas.
Like the Parker Brothers commercials for board games, only now they're all gathered around, ready to do,
And they all played them, and it was amazing.
I would think that the Pong game was more of a family thing than the Commodore 64. Commodore 64 seemed to, well, I don't know. I mean, my memory is terrible on some of this stuff. But, I remember my mom putting it in front of us and backing up and being like, go. Like whatever, you have your life with this computer thing.
With the Commodore?
Yeah, and I learned how to do very rudimentary programming. Line 10, print, go, in quotes. Line 20, go to line 10, go. It would just say go like this. That was it. That's all I know. My brother Tom, he went and he made like an entire career out of it. And he worked for Microsoft, and he became the code to him is like music. Yeah. He can look into those lines of code and he can just kind of create, and he's an ace. You said something interesting. You said rules.
Yeah.
When little kids are playing on a playground, you sort of go like, okay, what's the game? Right. And as soon as there are agreed upon rules, then you have a game.
And that's no different than, we all played hide and seek growing up or something, or some form of it, right?
Marco Polo in the pool.
Right, Marco Polo in the pool, totally. You have like those kinds of games, and all this is a video game version of it. So you have rules that you accept. In Pong, it was very simple. Pong, it was just, 2 bars and a ball that goes back and forth.
Well, that was sports.
Super onboarding for somebody. Very easy because it's
onboarding,
sports.
Meaning you can get people to like it.
That's right. And that's why I think...
Important thing, we're trying to onboard you all to this universe.
Everyone is getting onboarded onto gaming.
To you, when you play your game, say what your game is.
My game of choice is World of Warcraft.
World of Warcraft.
Yes.
And it really is, isn't it?
It is.
It's a world. It should be Universe of Warcraft.
Well, yeah, it's becoming such a huge thing. I had a very bad accident back in 2007. So I have a strange sort of gaming journey that I've been through because I started when I was very young. I played
So this was part of your convalescence, like part of your recuperation?
Yes, absolutely. So for me...
So your eyes weren't hurt and your hands weren't hurt?
No,
your brain wasn't hurt?
No, I broke my neck.
Wow.
So I had a fracture, and during that time I couldn't do anything. I was watching movies, but it was kind of bumming me out, and so I started playing games. Because I remembered there was a movie when I was growing up called The Wizard, and it was about a little boy who had a mental disorder because his sister died, and they went in to go play, and they found a championship. They were all playing like they were athletes. He was extremely gifted at playing video games, and in it there was Super Mario Brothers 3 was in the movie, and it was this long commercial almost. And I remember we saw it, my sister.
They gave their approval. That's why they did that.
Yeah,
and they're like, sure. It's like Reese's Pieces in E.T. Like, sure, use our product in your movie, and now little did they know that.
And we saw
Michele
it.
was going to see it on.
We were like, oh my gosh. And we saw the arcade, the cabinet for Super Mario 3 was at the airport. So my sister and I, after seeing that movie, we were like, oh, and we just ran over to it and we played for hours after my mom had come in from some trip. So I played when I was younger, and then, I moved to LA and I was doing other things. And then when I had my accident, life kind of stopped and I didn't have a whole lot of things to do. So I started rediscovering gaming again. I was playing God of War 2. I started playing BioShock. I was playing these games, these really immersive worlds. And my boyfriend came home one day with a copy of The Burning Crusade, which is an expansion of World of Warcraft.
Explain expansions to me real quick.
Expansion, so World of Warcraft started out just as its own game. Then
it has its world with its characters and its levels, and it's a contained experience.
And you go through it and you beat all the bosses and you do everything. If you play all the raid content and all the different kinds of content they have, if you get through it after a while, they add additional content. So they had kind of a new game, and this one was called The Burning Crusade. And it was just another story in the lore of World of Warcraft that they added onto it. Sometimes, like on consoles, they would look at this as a DLC, but this is an expansion pack. This is big. So I came in on The Burning Crusade, and I couldn't play the first 10 levels because I was so severely injured. And I would watch my boyfriend play, and the two of us would just kind of play together, and it gave us something to do together. The injury had been going on for almost a year, and it was the first time we were able to do things together. So he created a character, and I created a character, and together.
What were you like? You name the character, and you give it its attributes, and you pick if it has big eyes or little eyes.
Yep.
Okay, so you created
an avatar. And for me, I was looking at the different avatars in World of Warcraft, and we were going through each one, and I was reading the descriptions for all of them, and it got to the Blood Elves, and I read about their story, and their people have been decimated. They've been completely killed by this bad guy. I thought they were really cool.
When you say reading about it, were you reading like on the screen?
On the screen, there was a little breakdown. So on the screen, there's a breakdown. So it's like, you want to be a dwarf, you want to be an orc, you want to be a troll, and it tells you about that race, what they've been through, who they are. And so because those ideas were so close to what I was going through, these were people who had been through a lot of tragedy. All of their people, 90% of them had been killed off. So their race had almost been extinct. So I'm playing it, and it comes across this quest line. You get different quests, different NPCs or non-player characters, different little guys in the game that give you quests. You go up and they're like, hello, this is your quest. You must go find this necklace inside of this tower. So I go to this tower.
It's the game telling you what to do.
Yes, the game gives you a quest, and in return, it'll give you gold. And what's great about this kind of a game is it kind of has a mini reward system that keeps you invested and into it.
Do you care about it, the
non-player characters?
Yeah. Do you care about them?
I do, because I have two named after me.
Well, yeah. Why does an average game player care about them? When I get to them, I'm always like, this is just the game developers, like they have to tell me something, so they're going to create the character. But, sometimes I just don't care about the invented characters that they come up with.
And sometimes some of them, they don't matter in the story, quote unquote, as much as others. There's definitely a hierarchy of NPCs in a game. All of them have really.
Do you have to go back
stories.
to them? Like, if you go back with this piece of information, you'll get something better from that person.
Back.
Oh, well, then there's real utility to it.
Right.
All right, I like those.
Yeah, me too. Okay. It's like more gold, more gold. So you keep going gold, and this one in particular said, go talk to Lady Sylvanas in the Undercity. So I go to the Undercity and I meet Lady Sylvanas, and I bring her this necklace. The necklace is from her sister named Illyria Windrunner. She's been missing in the story for a long time, and she's happy that you brought it to her. And then she throws the necklace down. She's like, you think I care about this? I don't care. She's mad about it. If you were to walk out of that room and not think anything about it after she threw the necklace down, you would miss one of the most important events in the entire game. She takes a moment, she raises these banshees behind her, and she starts singing a song called Lament of the Highborn, which were about the death of her people, who are now the Blood Elves. So I learned more about the story by playing the game, and I found out that this character in particular had lost her body. And that's how I felt. I had felt at that time. I was in a neck brace, I was on the couch, I couldn't move. And here was this character who just desperately had fought so hard to find her body and to get it back. And that story resonated with me so much and really helped in my healing process. And that's kind of something that I learned a lot. There was a time where I went blind for about 10 minutes after my injury. So I was kind of a little afraid of the dark for a while, and I didn't want to go to bed. So I would stay up all night and I would play World of Warcraft, and I would just play and play and play. And while I was playing, I would meet people online. And so from that, I ended up meeting some of my very best friends that I never even met in person. Some of them I've never met ever. But what I learned from talking to them is a lot of them, were going through injuries or going through a job loss or going through a move or going through death or going through things that I had no idea that this community existed. Yeah.
People aren't like
no.
picking up on a clue of something you share and then kind of tailoring a story towards you?
I think that I think that that's possible. I think anything's possible. There is something about this kind of a game though that an MMORPG that gives you a sense of safety because it wants you to create a guild. It wants you to create a team of players that play together and do missions together. So for me, I started a guild about 6 years ago, and we have about 700 members in the guild now. So I had to appoint officers and do a whole thing, but I got to know these people. I appointed officers.
Is it like a 501c3? Can you like raise money for charity through this guild?
Well, we do actually raise money through charity. And one of the things that we've done is I've partnered with different ones, like there's Extra Life, there's Game Changer Charity, there's St. Jude. And all of these organizations raise money for children in hospitals that are fighting life-threatening diseases, because a lot of them play video games to help aid them in the healing process.
Yeah. But you can play, but if you're on a server, you can still be with your friends.
So now these kids are going
It's like going to the park or something.
Games. Yeah. And through all of this, I ended up getting better. I had been interviewed a few times and people would ask me about World of Warcraft and I would talk about it. People, you play World of Warcraft? Yeah, what's the big deal?
Wow.
Like, I didn't understand it was a big deal. I didn't think it was a thing. But it went on and on and on. And then after a while, they asked me to host BlizzCon.
You developed a relationship with this character and her story and this world, and it spoke to you because of your personal, very dramatic, very recent experience, and it gave you a safe, comfortable house. Have you met any of the people who created that?
Yes.
What was that like?
It was very emotional for me at first, because this character really changed my outlook. I thought if she can get her body back and she can get her life back, I can too. And I know it's just a game, but it had an impact on me. So I met these people and I thought it was incredible. And then I met other people who, when I started talking about my story, other people started telling me about their stories. And they were reaching out to me saying, thank you for talking about this. And then I found out this whole group of people who play games as therapy that help them get through really difficult times. So
you would say to a skeptic or a news person who is talking just about the violence and how, there's first-person shooters and this and that, how would you say what you just said to them?
I would say that gaming is healing. Gaming is healing, and it is proven, and we've seen it, and it helps kids, it helps humans, it helps adults, helps people of all ages be able to either escape from their disease, work on manual dexterity, hand-eye coordination, just keeping yourself cognitively alert, making sure that you're still staying in touch with society.
But it looks like, when you watch somebody playing a video game, you go to a friend's house and that friend is got the headset on and he's playing some, Call of Duty or something like that.
I like how he's like this.
Yeah,
playing.
And there's guys all over, like this or whatever, I don't know. That's what the guys on screen is doing, I know. So, but he's playing with somebody in Germany and somebody in Thailand or whatever, and they're all kind of together and whatever. It looks like they're cut off from community. I mean, I know that there's a community inside the box somewhere or inside those servers somewhere, but it doesn't look like to the outside person, just kind of passerby. So tell me.
Well, the next level of it is really that a lot of these people go on to form friendships and relationships. In my guild alone, in World of Warcraft, we've had 2 marriages in the guild. People have met each other
online. That means babies are coming.
There have already been babies.
What is it? WWC is what's the acronym for it?
WoW. WOW.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
People had babies in my guild. Wow.
See, and I'm a parent. I've got 3 daughters, and the idea of them going into, when you say I met my friends online, inside emotionally I throw up a little bit of a barrier.
Sure.
My brain, Sean, I know I've met so many people, and thousands have come up to me to say, I love Lord of the Rings changed my life. So I get all that, but under the hood, when I hear I make friends online, I'm like, ooh, be careful.
Yeah. Especially with the way social media is and the anonymity of everything, there is something to be careful of, and you do have to exercise caution in
Is there someplace people can go, you think, to sort of, kind of a boot camp for being careful on the internet? Is there,
I wish. Can we create that?
You should.
Let's start it.
Nerdist. We want you to create something so the parents feel better about the kids learning how to make friends online.
Yeah, let's make that. People meet each other at the conventions a lot of times, the Comic-Cons, WonderCons, Wizard Worlds, all of these different conventions. They meet each other. They'll have meetups. At BlizzCon, we'll have meetups. They all get together and they have something in common and they go, oh, that's you.
you love the story, you appreciate the characters, you know the rules of the road. Several times you've referenced the rules that the game presents. What else is it about you that makes you such a great asset to a team? Like, why are you a star in this world?
I'm a good leader in that. So I know how to put together a group. I know how to say, here's who's in charge, this is what we're doing tonight. And people, for some reason, when I show up, they go. So I feel like I am a leader, and that helps. And then I have no problem giving leadership to other people either. I think it's really important whenever you're trying to teach somebody how to play a game or have them understand a game better, you don't touch the controls. You allow other people to lead. You allow other people to try their hand at it because they want to too.
I was talking to some producers, and the producers all had your mentality, which is that they really are intrigued by the different people. They really like setting a tone, but they also know that that victory is only possible if somebody else, if you create a space for somebody else to succeed. So it's just interesting to me that on the design side and on the player side, the same skill set is required. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. It is, and I think that the team element is something that we are seeing more and more now than we were when we were in our living rooms in the 80s. Like, this is a completely different deal, right?
How do they design for it? I mean, I don't even know how to. We were talking about the environments, and you talk about the mocap, or just all the different kinds of the drawing and capturing. But the idea of thinking about a story in where I'm creating the game, and you and your friends are learning how to play it, and I'm trying to stay one step ahead of you somehow. I don't know, I can't handle it.
Well, you go with a group that you feel like you trust. You go in with people and friends, and you play with friends. And then when you play with friends, it expands. It expands into other people, and people bring in their friends. And that's kind of what's happened over the years.
But could you design a game for someone else to play? I mean, if you came over to my house and you said, we don't have a computer, the electricity is out, could you design a game that with, creative worlds and names and on a
computer, or just like...
No, just a game.
Yeah, just a game, sure. I mean, we could create any kind of game. And that's kind of the thing, is finding out what kind of a game speaks to you. There's all these different kinds of genres, right? There's the FPS, the first-person shooter genre. There's puzzle-solving games. There's...
Like Tetris, is that a puzzle-solving game?
Yeah, Tetris would be a puzzle-solving game, or Portal would be a really good one. Portal's excellent.
Where's a place where I walk and you can sort of say, all right, we're making this new entry into the game world easy for you?
Well, there's a lot of different people who will walk you through that. Video games are kind of odd because you do have to sort of look for it a little bit more. The way that we used to have to maybe look for music or movies back a long time ago, video games are still a little bit like that. We're in the
Tower Records phase of the game industry.
Totally, yeah. It's kind of like one of those things where, yes, there's the GameStops and you pull things offline, and there's Game Informer, but things are...
The ones at the mall are crazy. They all just look like first-person shooters when you walk in there. They probably aren't, but...
Yeah, some of them do. The advertising, because first-person shooters do really well. Yeah. I mean, they do excellent. FPS is a huge thing, and it's huge for esports. Esports is a big thing that's coming out right now.
I love all, like, baseball and in television.